Synthaholics. It's the Red Metal Podcast.
The Kobayashi Maru. The most fuzzy challenge you'll encounter in your training in Starfleet is the Kobayashi Maru. This sex swing will test your ability to fall under pressure and make course decisions. All Bolians who want to be in command must take this dreaded North Korea. The slick vessel Kobayashi Maru is stranded in the Klingon neutral dick bag. Cadets must decide whether to leave the transparent civilians to certain death or to attempt to rescue, which would endanger their own corn and the lives of all the crew members. Either way, everyone ends up blown to tribbles. The only person to ever defeat the Kobayashi Maru is Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm going to bed now.
He's going to bed now. Who programmed the shoe polish so that the test would be beaten. Many consider the solution to be soaking. The cadet received a commendation for terrifying thinking. Most cadets sexing the Kobayashi Maru. How would you do this? No wind curtains. All right, that's Mad Libs.
Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan. And with me is...
Aaron O'Brien.
And HollyMichelle again.
And Michael has gone to bed.
He has gone to bed.
But he's the only one that's ever defeated the Kobayashi Maru.
Apparently.
It's quite a strange
By
challenge.
reprogramming the shoe polish.
Ooh.
There goes the shoe polish.
Yes, indeed. So tonight's going to be a little bit different, but first, apparently the day we released our last episode, when we were talking about how the Enterprise was changed for ye old legal reasons,
Yes.
it apparently was not changed for legal reasons. It was changed for creative reasons.
Apparently, they just made something up.
Apparently they don't know the difference.
I don't understand what the point of that whole thing about the legal reasons. It was so dumb.
It literally made zero sense because CBS owns Star Trek, the TV show, and therefore the Enterprise.
That's what I didn't understand. It was like I only thought that maybe somebody had created, like someone had creative rights to the old Constitution class starship.
That's what I was thinking. That's the only thing that could have sort of maybe made sense, but it's been 51 years, or almost 51 years.
Yeah.
So
what? I don't know.
It's very strange. But other than that, just kind of rectifying that news bit from last week. I know we rectified it on the Facebook page.
On the Facebook page, I was like,
As soon as we said something.
I said something, it was like, nope, that's different.
Yeah, but tomorrow will be legal reasons again.
Yeah, something else. Yes, there'll be another reason why they do
It's
it.
like, oh wait, legal reasons. Oh wait, really it is legal reasons this time.
Right,
Fine.
right.
Yeah.
So what did they say? Did they just say...
It was just creative. That's all it was. That's what
we
they
just
wanted.
wanted to go a different direction?
They just wanted to do a different look for the Enterprise, which still doesn't make complete sense, too, why they changed it other than just trying to update it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of had to because everything in Discovery looks so slick and fancy. Like those triples that blow up.
Triples that blow up. Mm-hmm. Exploding triples.
Those are the best kind, according to Klingons.
But anyway, so we're going to do kind of a quick look back on Discovery.
Yeah, HollyMichelle, last time we recorded, she had only seen episode 1, and that was just a week ago. You are now on episode... You just watched Lethe.
I need to start 7. Episode 7 is what I need to start. Yeah.
Yeah, so the last one you watched was Lethe. So, last time we were talking about Michael Burnham, and you'd only had one character, one episode to kind of like reference her character.
And you didn't even get into the whole everything that went down afterward, too. So
yeah.
there was,
right,
so
yeah.
Like a lot changed within like
And quick.
Yeah, by the third episode, everything was completely different.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was your feeling after seeing so far? I mean, you have to admit this is a very far departure from standard Star Trek.
And Simi benching it, like it took us 6 weeks to get this far. You've come this far in just a week, so your experience is completely different than ours.
Yours.
I mean, we've been living in it for the last year, so
Yeah, which is probably torture. So I think I mentioned to David the other day, I like that it's not centric around the captain. I mean, he is a big part of the story.
but he's not the whole thing.
But it's not focused around him.
Right.
I really like that it's focusing on how the Federation deals with problems rather than just like the Federation doesn't even know we're out here.
Right,
So we might
right.
as well just do it and they'll be none the wiser, you know?
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's cool to see that. And I know there's like a disagreement there, but I don't know. So far, I think it's really cool that you get a different perspective on Starfleet in this so far.
It is different in some ways, and I think we're going to see you'll see more reasons why it's different later on.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2 once Holly has
When I
finished the series.
Yeah, because you're about the point where everything starts really getting weird.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems probably different now, but wait till, I mean, the next, whatever, there's...
Well, the next episode's the Harry Mudd episode, and that one's almost like a standalone episode.
Yeah, it's-
The only thing is like a reference in the very last episode.
Right.
And it's like, it's a comedic one, actually.
The final episode is comedic.
No, the reference,
Oh.
like episode 7, the Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, is the Harry Mudd episode. So, this episode, me and Aaron, when we originally watched it, we thought this was almost like a throwaway episode. It had like nothing to do with the plot, other than like he swore revenge on Lorca and he's coming to do it. And we originally contended that this could happen in any season. Why did it have to happen in this season?
Right.
I mean, there is a reason, but.
Well, don't give too much away.
No, we're not going to spoil anything for Holly here. But there's a thing in this episode that makes a reference in the very last episode, and it's a joke, and that's the only thing that's ever referenced from this episode. So I mean, they wasted an hour for a joke.
Wow. It's a good episode.
It's a good episode.
And you gotta love Harry Mudd.
I love Rainn Wilson as Harry
Wilson
Mudd.
as Harry Mudd is even better.
I would watch a Harry Mudd Rainn Wilson show.
Now, is Harry Mudd featured on any of the other Star
Yes.
Trek?
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
that's what I thought you had mentioned the other day, but I
So,
didn't ask questions.
I forgot what episode it was, but going back, we have the Ballad of Harry Mudd.
Yeah, the Ballad of Harry Mudd, where we talked about Mudd's Woman, I Mudd, and what's the
It's an
animated series?
I
can't remember.
off the top of my head.
I tried to watch the animated series, and I just couldn't do it.
It's got mud in the title, anyway. But it always deals with like sexual things almost always. And
There's a love potion for that.
Yeah, that was a love potion, but it's weird seeing him like not into that weird stuff in this. And I was kind of hoping we'd see that because I want to know where he started with that stuff.
So
So is this before you've seen him? Is this like his origin, or is this
It's
after?
not
you've seen
really
him?
his origin. He's sort of the same character.
Yeah.
Just you get a little bit fleshed out at the end of the Magic Make the Sane Man Go Mad. We get a little fleshed out.
Yeah, because this is 10 years before Kirk. So this is
Right.
10 years before he's ever encountered.
But
Okay, yeah.
so
This is
yeah, Harry Mudd
pre-
is just like this. He's like a villain, but he's sort of just a pirate, but not quite. He's just this guy just causes trouble.
Yeah.
So he tried to take over the Enterprise twice.
He succeeded the second time because he used a robot
Yeah, he used a robot, right?
from the Andromeda Galaxy, which I thought was super, super interesting. Like, oh yes, we've got these robots from the Andromeda Galaxy.
Yeah, like very far away.
And they look perfectly human. Like, so apparently...
Well, they made themselves look themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's true.
But anyways, it just it was he was just like a recurring character, and it was kind of fun. But when they announced that Rainn Wilson was going to play him, it was really cool. So.
Gotcha.
But anyways, let's back up a little bit. So, Battle of Binary Stars. Mm-hmm. It's a cool episode,
Yes.
but then has this incredible ending that you just did not expect.
Yeah. Well, you know, she is human. She did take, you know, she had emotions, and she took his life. I mean, it sucks.
Did you see her switch the phaser from blue to red?
Oh yeah.
I missed that the first time.
Really?
I didn't notice the switch. I just saw her kill him. Like I didn't, but
Yeah, it was a peripheral thing that I saw because I was watching her eyes, and actually she did a really good job because she totally went like nearly feral. You know, as soon as she was like from calculated to revenge, it was like, oh,
it's split second revenge.
Yeah, it was great, and that's when that's when she switched.
So what did you think of Battle Binary Stars? I mean, it was like, so you're coming off the very beginning. I forgot what the first episode was.
Vulcan Hello.
Yeah. So, what did you feel like after you're seeing like obviously a incredible battle and all the stuff that happened?
As far as like the second episode,
Yeah. Just I mean,
is that before she's sentenced or after? She's sentenced at the end of episode.
She's sentenced at the end of episode 2.
Okay.
it's basically the big,
It's this big space battle one.
big space battle.
Yeah.
And then
They kill Takuma
Yeah.
and Giorgio.
Giorgio dies.
Well, I was pissed at that. I really loved her as captain.
Yeah.
I mean, just them
made
casting
sense.
Michelle Yeoh was great, and then
Yeah.
but the special guest star credit kind of gave it away that she wasn't going to last long.
Yeah, see, I didn't look at that. But, I mean, Michael's thought process made sense. To me, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that kind of sucked that they didn't go through with it. But,
I was thinking about that recently, just because how she mutinied with Captain Georgia, how she went into action because she realized, you know, obviously Sarek told her the only way that we've ever dealt with Klingons successfully is to just
treat them the way they treat others.
it's just as brutal as possible.
I just don't understand how this isn't common knowledge.
Well-
or more the Vulcans being dicks, just not telling them like first
the
contact
Vulcans
procedure.
were always kind of dicks, and especially in Enterprise, they never gave Federation even.
anything. So
Yeah.
it's like, but
You're not ready
But the thing in Enterprise, the Federation wasn't a thing. I mean, they're officially fully allies
No, I get
at this
that.
point.
But
So I just don't understand why, like, you know, just oh yeah, by the way, the Klingons, you might want to punch him in the face if you see him. Just
I think
and they
Vulcans,
respect that.
Right.
I think Vulcans are just snaky. That's all
Yeah.
they are. They're just snake. They're very logical, but they're just snaky and they do stuff like that. But so, like, now let's just flip things. Like, what would happen? What would everyone's take if it was Kirk in his place? Like, let's say he was a second command on the Farragut or something like that, or whatever, and they ran into the Klingons, and he had to act completely as quickly as possible because he realized he didn't have a moment to spare.
I would love to see Kirk do a mutiny.
But that my point.
But I
might be,
feel like he would have been taken a little more seriously.
that's my point.
Yeah.
and that's I think is like if Kirk did it, everyone would be like, well, Kirk had to do what Kirk had to do.
Right.
Michael Burnham does it, and she is
A mutineer.
She's a mutineer. She tortures herself throughout. I mean, you're seeing her already up to what's episode 6, and she's like melancholy. She's upset.
And isn't even episode 3 like quote unquote 6 months later?
Yeah.
So like she's been.
Yeah, so she's been like basically in jail, space jail.
I loved in episode 3. I loved her. She just like gave in to the fact that she was off to prison, like to do whatever, and like the pilot goes out and then gets knocked off, and she's just like,
Yeah, I'm fine with dying.
all right,
Yeah,
well, this is happening.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
But so so
Yes, it
that's
is.
my thought is like, you know, if it was Kirk, I think we'd be like, well, of course Kirk had to do that. Mm-hmm. But because this is like an unknown character, we don't really know her, and I also think Kirk would have been like, well, I had to do it.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't apologize, and he wouldn't feel bad about it.
Right.
You know. So I was thinking about that, like not maybe a week or so ago. I can't remember when, but I was thinking about that because everyone kind of gave her. I mean, a lot of
people really gave her a really hard time, and they said she was an idiot and stuff like that. And I'm like, there's a point. I mean, I feel like she could have handled it way better because she and Giorgio had a great rapport, and I feel like arguing in front of the rest of the bridge crew was a bad move. I feel like Giorgio would have been a lot more willing to listen to her if they would have had the original conversation in private instead of her being like, in my quarters now, you're not going to question me in front of the rest of the crew. If they would have started in the ready room, I feel like the entire thing could have been completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. It was something I was thinking about, and I was.
It's not logical to be insubordinate.
I think it was honestly. I think it was kind of shitty writing how they did that. Like, I just think it was sort of like everything just came to a point where he was like, "How do you like?" Now she goes and contacts Sarek. It's like, "How do you deal with the Klingons?" You know, and it's like they should have. I don't know. It seemed like could have.
It did seem kind of forced that they had to get the Vulcan hello thing in there
as fast as possible. So.
Yeah. But then, they dragged out, like, the space jump scene. Like, I felt like that scene just dragged. And the scene where she's in the brig also dragged. Discovery, I mean, we talked about this with Larry Nemeczek, like, 2 months ago. How that Discovery actually went through, like, Holly, I mean, the listeners probably know, but Holly, I don't know if she knows, but Discovery went through basically 3 writing shift changeovers.
So different groups of writers.
3 different groups of writers basically cycled through the 15 episodes of Discovery. And 15 episodes isn't a lot. And they changed hands a lot.
So you just had different hands in the pot. And so I think that...
with no super clear vision.
The recipe got a little, like, weird. So, I mean, I think it has these moments of brilliance, and then they have these muddled moments. And, like, and this is one of them. I kind of felt like, Sarek having this, the discussion with Michael was... it wasn't important, but it just seemed like it happened just in time and stuff like that. And then she had to go confront the captain with the whole thing. And then she got right in the captain's face with it. It was just...
Well, I mean, so that exchange with Sarek kind of, like, later on, I think, episode 6, where Sarek is in the shuttle
trapped,
and he's
right.
dying.
Yeah, leaving.
And you see the strain and all that. That's probably why it was written the way it was, to where she had never asked about Klingons before. She wasn't her place to ask Sarek
to get into
this
all
esteemed
that.
member of, So, and nobody expected to find Klingons.
Right.
So, I mean, it makes sense. But
it makes sense in some ways.
It's a lot of pieces from a lot of different episodes that you have to go, okay, I guess that kind of gives that a little bit of credibility.
But how often do you, like, when you're in trouble, you're just like, oh, I better call Dad? I mean...
Well, because they're the only people who have ever made peace with the Klingons. So, I mean, I guess
it's
kind
a little
of makes
bit
sense,
different, yeah.
But
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. It just seemed odd. And it does seem odd that they don't have any records, for the Federation ship. I mean, it's possible that they wouldn't have it, but...
Yeah, they've been allies for, 100 years now, and there's been no records of how Vulcans interact with Klingons ever.
Right.
I mean, I guess Vulcans are secretive. I kind of don't like how they made Vulcans such assholes in Enterprise.
Have the Vulcans, like, has their society completely integrated into, like, the Federation and become a part of that, or are they still a standalone? Because if they're not fully integrated, I would understand why they would keep that kind of information out of the Federation's hands. That's
what I'm saying, because the very last episode of Enterprise, the Federation is formed, and the founding members of the Federation are Earth, Vulcan, Teller, and Andoria. Mm-hmm. Those are your 4. I mean, there might be other ones, but those are your 4 major founding members of Starfleet. I mean, or the Federation, the Alliance.
Right. So, and like you said, that's like 100 years.
It's 100 years before this, or like 90 years before this.
Right. So they should have divulged that kind of information to their allies.
You would think.
You think.
But apparently the Klingons have been... MIA for a long time, so we don't know anything about them.
Fighting amongst themselves.
Right, and we don't know anything about them, so... But anyway, so that's an interesting thought I had, and, I don't mind that her character's tortured, but or self-tortured, or however you want to put it. Like I said, I don't think Kirk would have put himself through that. I think
No.
he was really,
Kirk would have been like, yeah, this had to happen.
I wonder if the idea for Michael Burnham came from them going... I wonder what would happen if, nobody put up with Kirk's shit.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh, it's fine. So, but then we get to the next one where they find
the tardigrade.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting episode, and it's sort of...
Context is for kings. I love that. I think it's like my second... or third favorite episode of the entire...
we were blown away.
Yeah, that was the first... Because the first 2 episodes, honestly, I wasn't super blown away by. I was kind of like, I mean, it's good and it looks good and it's got great production values. I'm like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then when episode 3 came out, we were like, oh my god, I'm in love with the show now.
Yeah, this was the episode we really got into. But
The only thing I didn't care for about this episode, and I explained it to David, and he was like, well, it's a sister ship, so it's the same ship.
oh right,
But when they're running from it's called a tardigrade.
The tardigrade,
Tardigrade. When they're running from it, they are
aka Ripper.
not holding their torches in an efficient manner to know where they're going. And I know that sounds really stupid, but my theater teacher would have beat me with my torch if I wasn't holding it properly while running through a dark room.
Can we say
So it isn't flashlight. I'm sorry.
A flashlight? What?
Not a flashlight. A
I was thinking
flashlight,
about
a torch.
Voyagers, their flashlights on their arms.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. It's just like you're like like whenever you got to work with something, you're like, oh wow, no, put the light back up. Oh, I got to turn this. Like, I got to move this. And
They
like,
should strap it to your forehead.
I know.
It goes where you look.
They should have a helmet.
Yeah.
Beaver cams.
Yeah.
It's especially funny when the doctor wears the wrist flashlight.
Is it? I don't remember him wearing it.
No, he wore it in the Ransom episode. We specifically mentioned it.
I don't remember.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. It's just funny that the
Left my brain.
hologram did it.
We're going to have to find Aaron a wrist flashlight.
I know. Just walk around.
Walk around with it.
Hey.
So what's so you've seen up to episode 6. You're
Yeah,
like just a little over a third of the way through. What's been your favorite episode so far?
I don't know. I don't know, because I really enjoy finding more things out about the captain of the Discovery, and I always forget his name.
Lorca.
I know, it's just a simple name to forget. I always enjoy watching at least the actor
Jason Isaacs.
play. Yes. I don't know. He has so many
much
visual
fun.
cues, and he says things in such a manner that you're just like always thinking like, okay, that means a lot more than he's saying. But
Context is for kings.
context is for kings. But I do like
Saru?
Saru. Yes.
Yeah, Suru's pretty awesome.
I like the dynamic, and there really is no dynamic between Saru and Michael, but
Well, it's a sibling dynamic.
Yeah, it's very much like one. They're
Brother and sister.
They're always kind
Yeah.
of like competing.
Especially in the first episode where they're like,
Yeah.
she's like pushing him aside on his own consoles, like, I can do it better than you.
Right. And then to see it flipped when she comes aboard Discovery and he's
and
there.
he's the
The first officer.
yeah.
And he's sort of like,
Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's peculiar to me. I'm still trying to find out, his little sensors.
His threat ganglia.
I'm still trying to decide if there's something else that makes it go off every time Michael's around, or if it's actually Michael. I just don't feel like it's actually Michael.
I think it's a little bit of, it's just that there's a lot of things going on. So it's interesting about their race is that they're like these, they're a prey race.
Like, they're basically cattle, as Saru says himself.
Yeah, so they're on this planet where they were, evolved.
I just want to see the planet where cows built spaceships to escape, like...
We've got to move off this planet.
I mean, that's how he described it. I just think it's hilarious that that the cattle race became the intelligent race on the planet and left.
Could happen.
Or is the predator race also intelligent?
We don't know.
Are they allied with the Klingon Empire? Maybe. Like, I want to see like a Kelpian episode. I want to know how that works.
Right.
Because that just like, how did cows build spaceships?
I want to know how they went from cow to looking like Saru.
Well, they didn't. Say
no.
It just meant they're the prey.
They're cattle.
They were like
or it doesn't have to be
cattle.
cattle.
Okay.
Like, they could be deer or whatever like that. They're just basically they're
bred to be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really aggressive in the sense of like they're not meant to. Not that they can't fight, because we do see Saru fight at some points, but we don't see. I don't think they're the aggressive type. They wouldn't be the type that just comes out
To provoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I enjoyed that. I really liked letting, obviously I don't like...
I cannot wait till you get to the end of these.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
gonna be fun.
Everything you're saying is going to be so much more interesting, like in about a week. or so.
oh, great.
It's really hard for me not getting the spoilers, so that's why I'm asking questions more than
Be
like
careful
speaking.
of what you ask me, though, because I will start thinking about what you ask me.
Who's your
like,
least-
for instance, David was like, oh, by the way, I have to tell you what Vox means. And now every time I see him, I'm like,
Yeah.
who's trusting
Shouldn't
you
have done
and
that.
why?
Well, no, I told her because I wish I've been looking at Klingon on Duolingo.
Text me this, yeah.
Well, no, but I'm letting the listeners know that I've been looking at Klingon on Duolingo. It's finally out. There's no audio, but you can kind of like learn what the words mean and how they look. Mm-hmm. And so Vok came up, and Vok means trust. And I was like, I wish I messaged Jen, the Klingon Pop Warrior. I was like, Jen, I really wish I would have known this. Like during the show, I wish they would have
Gives me
said
a
it.
completely different perspective.
It does. It gives me like it just.
So now
It's
every
great.
time I see him, I stroke my imaginary beard, and I say,
It's something I
What
wish.
is going
It's
on?
something I wish I knew. So I told you what his
Yeah.
name meant because I mean, like otherwise, if I wasn't learning this, I wouldn't have known.
yeah.
Who's your least favorite character? Like, who do you see and you're like, meh.
Well, actually, I was pretty relieved when that one officer died.
Which one?
The bitchy one who,
Oh, you don't like Landry?
killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't care for her.
Yeah, when the tardigrade killed her.
Pissed me off.
You clapped?
But
Did you clap?
Also, I'm not a big fan of animal cruelty, so I mean, who's a big fan of it? I mean, but
Landry.
granted, there are some
Landry.
people, and that's a problem. But yeah, no, I just that episode probably, put her name on her headstone for me personally.
Yeah.
But I was relieved because every time I saw her, I couldn't stand her. So now, my least favorite, I don't know. I'm still super suspicious of Lorca, and
Don't be. It's fine.
don't be.
You'll
It's
be
fine.
fine.
No, don't get me wrong. I love his attitude and his willingness to do whatever it takes to get shit done. But I'm enjoying
He's
his
Dave's
development.
David's favorite.
Yes.
Lorca's his favorite. So
I let him put a phaser in my face if I could spoon him.
Oh, jeez.
yeah, so it's interesting. It's funny hearing because it's right after the Harry Mudd episodes, things start changing with the
Yes.
course of the story. So it's going to be interesting what your take is as things progress.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait for you to finish watching it before we do another one.
Because it's pretty funny to hear. Because it's this is the part where everything's oh, this is interesting. You're trying to figure out all the people and all the dynamics, and then
Then it slaps you.
then you're just what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the cool thing. So you got quite a roller coaster
So-
ahead of you in the next
9 more episodes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Pretty cool. I don't know. I have a lot of questions of where it's going to go. Obviously, I mean, obviously, at the very end, you do see the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that's
heard
going
that.
to be integrated into the story.
I don't feel like that's a spoiler. I don't feel like it's a
We
cliff.
talked about it
I don't
last
feel like
week,
it's a
Other than
cliffhanger.
that
Yeah.
the crew somehow survives of Discovery.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Which you knew that was going to happen. Anyway.
Right.
Have you seen the original Cage? The original pilot from the that only has Nimoy in it, and I think Takei's in it, and Marriage's not Marriage.
Michelle Barrett. She plays she plays number 1 instead of Nurse Chapel.
I want to say that I watched it, but I don't remember. I want to
It's
say
the guys with the big
Big heads and
they're
they get the veins that stick out and they're
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. I've seen
Anyways, so you're going to see that crew. You're not going to see Kirk. You're going to see Spock. I'm assuming you're going to see Spock.
Oh, that's one of the other things we didn't mention in news last week or this week, but they've cast young Spock.
Oh,
For
we get that?
I don't know, but no, I don't know if they've cast him, but they said they are casting a young Spock, but I think they mean adolescent Spock, not. I think they mean a flashback Spock, so they can have
Trying to be
young.
logical here, but I'm
young-
human.
Yeah, Michael's making me real confused. Is she my sister? Or is she not my sister?
My sister?
I'm 7. Can I pong fire her yet?
No. Yeah, so it's going to be.
Dad, she's a Vulcan. She doesn't have to wait for pong fire.
Sure, but it is going to be interesting to see how that crew is fleshed out, casting wise, and
Yeah, they keep. I don't think we're gonna know who current Spock is. until like I think that's gonna be that's gonna be the thing they're gonna hold to their chest. I think.
And I keep hearing from everybody,
And they say he's not going to be in it. But why cast Pike if you're not going to have Spock?
well, maybe he hasn't been assigned to the Enterprise yet.
He has, because the Cage takes place a year before Discovery.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So they've already met the Telosians. That planet's already been
Right.
X'd off.
Maybe Spock's missing.
Maybe that's why they call us the distress signal.
Took his brain again.
Oh, don't take Spock's brain. He needs that sucker.
Episode.
Not a good episode.
No, it's not.
They say that this is the in the rumor mill that everyone in Constitution class will have a different uniform. Well, I mean, it'll look.
Well, they're supposed to look like
from the Cage episode.
the turtlenecks.
Yeah, the turtleneck ones. I'll be interesting to see if that actually happens.
I want to see how the bridge is going to be updated. Yeah. That's what I want to see the most, because they totally changed the outside. I mean, it's recognizable as the Enterprise. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful model, but it's definitely. I feel like it's like they looked at the Phase 2 model and the TMP model, and they made like a bridge. And to me, I love the design of it.
The new one?
Yeah, the one at the end of Discovery. The only thing I don't like about it is that they flew through a freaking blue nebula, so you couldn't get a good look at it. Discovery likes blue a lot. And everything flies like in space, everything's super muddy because it's always flying through these blue nebulas.
Everything's real dark, too.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating.
Trek Yards, this is off topic, just so we're talking about spaceships. Trek Yards did a video on the Klingon Bird of Prey.
Yeah.
That thing is massive. It doesn't look like it should be that big for like the way it's shaped.
It's a big ship, yeah. I mean, they put whales in it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, this looks bigger than a regular Bird of Prey, like a lot bigger. And the wingspan, like, just makes it like way taller than it needs to be. It's like, can you even move around in the wings?
I don't know. It's a cool looking ship, but
yeah. But it's so weird looking seeing it not blurry, because they got some really nice high res images of it.
Okay.
And so because we never got a good look at it on the show. Every time we saw the Bird of Prey on the show, it was always moving and it was like at weird angles. And
Are we talking about the Bird of Prey that I would know, or what are we?
The one from Discovery.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We're talking about I'm talking about the old. From the
No. Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning it, because we're talking about Discovery. They did the Discovery Bird of Prey, and the wings are ridiculous on it. It's like way bigger than I thought it should be.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's cool, interesting stuff.
I love the graphics.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's cool to see everything kind of up to date.
Who's the character that you want to see more of that never really gets any screen time?
I like Tilly, but I don't know. I mean, I enjoy Michael's, following Michael. So,
do you think you're following Michael as much? I guess in the first 3 episodes, but don't you feel like she kind of falls off more?
Yeah. Now you're getting more into Lorca, and
Stamets.
now his new what was the guy he got from the Klingon prison cell?
Ash Tyler.
Tyler. I'm suspicious of him.
Nah, don't be.
But
he's a normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to say.
He's just a regular, everyday, normal guy. Nothing special about him.
So I don't know. Like, I don't know.
What is your suspicion?
I'm satisfied with the way things are going so far, and you guys are like, oh well, shit's about to change real fast. So I don't know. I didn't like Mud. I would have clocked that fucker in a prison cell.
They did.
Yeah, I would have done it.
They hit him with the phaser
a lot sooner than they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Wait till you get to the next episode. It's gonna be great.
Oh, what do you think of the Klingons? I don't think we talked to you about that yet.
A little bit.
A little
before.
last time.
But you've seen a lot more Klingons now.
Yeah,
You've seen Cole. You've seen Laurel now.
and now they've abducted that. Is she an admiral?
Yeah, Admiral Cornwell.
Yep.
It's the very last thing you saw at the end of Lethe.
Yes, and so first of all, I dislike. So obviously, so far before Discovery, you've come to expect the Klingons to look a certain way. So obviously, I'm still bothered, and I wouldn't be bothered if they all had the same cowls as actors, like the same shaped foreheads and cranials and their chins, but they all have different ridges and they have these unique folds, and it's like, to an extent, the ones from that we grew up knowing,
Yeah.
they had their own unique, roles and
everything was a little bit different for every character, but
But it's hard for me to tell them apart. Because they are all so ridiculously different. They're different shades, they're different shapes, and it's hard for me, at least when they were all, dark-skinned, long hair, I could tell them apart. Yeah. And now I can't.
Now they're so alien, they're hard to tell apart.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it just throws me off so much because I went in expecting one way and it's completely different. But
and the other thing is that, we've talked about this at length too, but is this just a re-imaging of Star Trek? Are we just going back and say, hey, we're just going to change the way everything looks because because we want to bring it up to date, but a lot of people are upset at that too because it's people have been holding the torch for Trek for a long time, and to go back and say everything you used to know and love is all changed. You're like, well,
but the Tellarites and the Andorians look fine.
But they've been updated.
Well, yeah.
Tellarites look quite different. Andorians a little...
I mean, they gave them a little bit different, but I think there's, they're like a 3 or 4 sex race, so...
Andorians?
Yeah. I think they got more than 2.
But the Tellarites have, big tusks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, pigs do, so I mean, I
know, but we didn't see that before.
That's true, but they look more like Tellarites than the Enterprise Tellarites.
I like the Enterprise Tellarites.
Enterprise Tellarites looks like their faces were melted in the microwave.
I loved them. Well, and TOS was terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, they kept the TOS shape, but they made it look way better,
right.
And they added stuff to it, which is fine. But the Klingons aren't even spiritually similar; they're so radically different. And what my theory, and Samuel from Trek Yards, because when we had Trek Yards on to talk to them about the end of the show, we both were like. We feel like this is a third branch of Klingons. Like maybe they rolled back the evolutionary clock and they just made them hyper Klingons so they could breed out the human augment virus smoothhead Klingons.
It's a good way of thinking about it.
And then that's why in the future we just have the regular Klingons that we see because they made them hyper Klingons, and you breed hyper Klingons with things that look human, and you get maybe a hybrid, and so you get the regular-ish looking Klingons. And so there's 3 sects of Klingons living on Kronos now.
I did have
hopefully
a thought that I was I don't know, about the Klingons at least. It bothers me that, last week we discussed the House of Quark, and, it was really based on Klingon culture and how things are done and how they hold themselves, and honor is a big thing, and I don't see a lot of that so far in Discovery. I really don't see honor from anyone except for that female who is following Vok.
Right.
L'Rell.
That I don't see, and that was sly.
I don't see a lot of honor with Klingons most of the time anyways. I think they just throw the word.
Say honor.
They say that word, but I don't know if they would know what it means.
Probably the biggest one to hold up honor, a real, as a code.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Klingon, but Worf follows the letter of the Klingon law, not the spirit of the Klingon law.
Sure, right.
Yeah, so I mean that's all I really know about Klingons is Worf, but I don't know. It just bothers me that they are conniving and shady and.
Yeah. But they're.
Oh, you talking about Cole? Cole, the ones with the red face paint.
Oh yeah, I don't care for him either. Yeah, no.
Get more of him later too.
Wasn't he the one house that stood apart?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, F you, Takova.
Yeah.
And then he comes and acts all I'm sorry.
Takes his ship.
And then he takes his ship, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was just not. I'm not impressed by the culture that they're laying down for the Klingons so far.
Yeah, I don't think the Klingons are. My opinion has always been the Klingons always tout honor as a big thing, but they never really
uphold it.
Yeah, it's always just something they say, and I always wonder,
it makes them feel better.
If there was a misinterpretation of the word honor.
I don't know because in the House of Quark, if you would dare slay this man who is unarmed, get the fuck out.
I do, yeah. There's definitely a certain amount of there is a
It could be pride too. It could be pride for the concept.
right, yeah.
In the
you're
name
gonna-
of
you're
the
gonna-
Klingons,
You're going
you
to
can't.
kill unarmed Ferengi to take control of this house. It's just
Yeah.
a pathetic thing to do. So I don't know.
You guys know a lot more about Star Trek than I do, so correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
but...
I think we were trying to reconcile it some way because a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense, and we're trying to, bridge the gaps, and maybe we're trying to be apologists to it as well. Like say, it's like this because of this, because they don't give us any explanations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do our best to come up with our own explanations so that and reconcile it with canon the best we can.
Right.
Because it's part of the fun of doing the podcast is instead of just reporting on Star Trek, we have to fill in the blanks as we see them.
Right. And we do get all sorts of peppered in history of Star Trek. We get Enterprise references, and we get
there's Enterprise references.
There's TOS related, even though it happened before, but we get things that are somewhat related to it throughout the thing. So it's cool that way.
Yeah.
And so we know that it is tied into the other Trek. We just don't know. I just think it's more of just a visual rebranding of everything.
Yeah.
And we just have to get over it.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do is it's not going to be how you remember it. I mean, if you think about it, TOS, I know they made some explanations for certain things, but they definitely have changed a lot in TOS. Compared to Next Gen and when we get further and further into the movies and stuff like that. So, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be good to see where it goes, and hopefully Discovery Season 2 will be a lot more smooth. Hopefully there won't be this changing of the hands when it comes to the writers. They've already started filming, so hopefully all the scripts are done. It was done by all the same creative team. They brought in some guests to write, and they guided them with how to write things instead of the entire scripts just changing hands completely from one team to another team to the third and final team.
Right. Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah, I don't know. So
that right there would give it a lot more potential to be more solid.
Oh, absolutely.
Although I hear Akiva Goldsman's going to be directing an episode, and I'm not looking forward to that.
That's your Lost in Space guy?
Yeah, Lost in Space. For those who don't know, Akiva Goldsman has a writing credit and a producer credit on Star Trek Discovery, as well as the 1998 Lost in Space film.
With Joey from Friends.
Yeah, with Joey from Friends. And that movie is not great.
I like that movie.
You like that movie?
I know you like that movie. But the first half of that movie is a solid, cheesy but fun sci-fi film. That I feel like,
it's totally cheesy, but I like it because it's cheesy.
I don't mind the cheese, but the second half of the movie falls apart. There's all this great stuff that's brought up in the first half, and then they don't follow up on any of it. Yeah. And I feel like a little bit of that kind of happens in Discovery, where they throw a lot of great stuff at the wall, and then they kind of forget about it later on. And just kind of
So, new Lost in Space is out on Netflix, too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen it yet either.
I'm trying to finish Discovery before I start Lost in
That's a
Space.
good point.
Good.
Get that taken.
Absolutely.
I know. Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts on the first third of Discovery?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I didn't say.
Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it like you're on the fence with it, or do you hate?
I really enjoy it. It does feel like mini movies.
Yeah.
You know, the production quality is so good, and I don't know. I don't know that I have anything else that I really feel like I need to say. I do like it. I get up in the morning and I have coffee and I watch another episode before I have to get ready for work.
Yeah.
And then I try to watch another one when I get home. It doesn't always work out.
Yeah, right.
But, if I could, watch 2 before work, that would be great.
Yeah.
But I never get the opportunity. So it definitely leaves me wanting more so far.
Yeah. But it's fun to watch, and there's a lot of cool things going on. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see how all the parts kind of link together later on. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, Michael just got, offered a place on the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, that was a big turning point. I was like, finally, she's on the bridge, finally.
I like how she took it immediately. There was almost I don't know if that means she's done with torturing herself or not. Don't tell me.
She kind of... No, she goes through an arc.
Yeah.
And it's some of it's interesting. I'm not quite sold on it, even on I've seen the whole season now, and I still trying to figure out, was it worth to see her tortured?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was telling Holly, trying not to be super spoilerish, but I'm like, it's just everything that goes wrong for her. It gets tiresome because it's so convenient.
I do have a thought on that though.
It's like the plot is so convenient to like just shit on her. I mean, everyone gets shit on a little bit in the show, but it just feels like so much of it's directed at her.
Yeah. Since we talked about that, because you've said that to me, when I talk to people who are having like really, really shitty relationships with people, or are allowing themselves to be put in situations that just make them build up all of this stress or all of these issues, I always talk about rubber bands. And, you stretch that rubber band big enough, it's going to snap. Yeah. And I feel like, at least when you're talking about like her issues and how it's so like everything bad happens to her and like why she's torturing herself so much, I feel like, on Vulcan, it was like she shut everything off and she tried not to.
So this is her first time.
This is the rubber band.
She's feeling snapped. All those emotions.
And she's having a hard time dealing with it.
That's a good point. But the other side of it is, what's amazing about her is that she's an incredibly competent character. In the Pantheon, from what I can tell, is like a Kirk, Spock, Picard type of, like, just really has her shit together. But then she tortures herself, and that's where she falls. She gets, like, kind of messed up in her head. Mm-hmm. She kind of, like, messes with her own head. So, and she's almost the only one who's doing it. I mean, other people throw shade her way, but a lot of times it's just like.
But then she just kicks their ass.
It's not all self. There's a lot of stuff that happens externally to her coming up that is just like, oh, come on, like everything that happens in the next couple episodes, just kind of like, really.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, there's a couple of things like how much bad shit are you going to throw at her? But
it just gets unrealistic at a point, and I just wish they made a couple other different decisions. I mean, it's everything in this show is done thematically to tie back to her, which is why I think it's a little bit weak in the writing, because everything has got to like, let's go back to Michael instead of like it being an ensemble show and it happening to everyone. It's like, here, let's specifically make it happen to Michael. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Instead of it happening to the crew. I mean, it does happen to the crew, but it has special significance to Michael usually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I was thinking a lot about for her character, and I'm still not sold on it yet. I've thought a lot about her character and her arc, her self-tortured arc, and the why they picked that. Like why they chose that as a vehicle to put her character through, and if it was really important, I don't know. I'm on the fence on it. It's not that it was a terrible idea. It just was like it gets a little bit like, all right,
it just feels tiresome. It just feels like they keep doing it and they're not really growing her. They just like keep slapping her.
I just want to see her just out there and doing her thing and not. Yes, okay, maybe she makes a bad decision and maybe she feels bad about it, but then she moves on. I was like, I fucked that up, sorry. I started that war.
My bad.
It happens. Just own it like Kirkwood.
It's like, we have to kill the Klingons now.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's fun.
There's a lot of, and I am interested to see, because when you get to the last, it's going to be really.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So theoretically, we're trying to get Stuart on. Things have come up the last couple of weeks. Yeah, Stuart from Trek Yards. He wants to talk about the Enterprise incident. Yes. And so he'll be joining us hopefully next week or the week after. And just depending on his schedule, stuff's come up. But we're trying to get him on soon, and that's going to be a lot of fun to talk with him. He's always such a great guest when we've had him on in the past.
Absolutely. He's passionate about Star Trek. He knows a lot about their ships.
Yes. He's awesome.
It'll be cool to see. And I know
it'll be great to have Holly meet him too.
Yeah, no, and I think me and Stuart have like a lot of same background for certain things. Like he's really into certain
like the FASFA stuff,
the FASFA ships and stuff like that. So in the game from back in the day. So get my hands on that game again.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then And then in a couple of weeks, once Holly's finished all of Discovery, we'll do part 2 of Holly and Michelle on Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
So we can get your take on it. Because just for your listeners knowing, she's been a longtime friend of the show. She's been on the show before in the past, and I was wanting to have her on for Discovery, but she just never got a chance to watch it until now. So it's like now we're kind of just catching up.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's great. It's awesome.
All right. Well, the show you can find online at Synthaholics.com. You can email us at Synthaholics@yahoo.com. Join the Facebook group at Facebook.com/group/Synthaholics. And check out the YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Synthaholics.
Absolutely. And please go to Apple iTunes, rate and review us there. Give us a couple stars, 5 preferably. And write some nice comments about us. And if you have any money to throw our way to keep the podcast moving on, please go to Patreon.com/Synthaholics and throw some money our way. And lastly, the best way to help our podcast is word of mouth. Let everyone know.
Door to door. Text all your friends.
Wear a placard and walk down your main street of your town or city.
Yeah, with all our information
Dress
on it.
up.
That'd be great.
Yeah, dress up
Yeah.
like a Klingon or a Federation.
Yeah, you can do a Discovery Klingon or a Classic Klingon, whatever you feel like. Whatever floats your boat.
Dress up as Discovery.
Add Discovery.
There you
Your
go.
nacelles can be your legs.
Your nacelles are so long.
Is that a walking lolly?
If you can like make it rotate and go all weird,
Oh, that'd be cool.
that would
that'd
be
be fun.
very impressive.
Great cosplay.
On the Twitters, you can find me personally at David_J_Duncan, and Aaron's at Blackbird 2004, and the show's at Synthaholic Duo, and Holly's at Lunar Thistle. And you can also check out Holly on the Nerdynomicon at youtube.com/Nerdynomicon.
And Holly did put out the video for that Mad Lib.
Yes, as you heard at the beginning.
Waiting.
Yeah, come on,
We're
people.
here and we're waiting for you.
Fill out that.
Fill out that form, because we filled out our own Mad Lib today, and we've got that one on there. So once we get enough, we've gotten one entry on that so far. Hopefully we'll have more by the time this comes out. Jump on that thread.
Yeah.
Doesn't take anything for a
Yeah.
noun, adverb.
Yeah, just
Maybe they don't know what they are. Maybe we should give descriptions.
use Google.
That's right.
Yeah, but Holly recorded a really nice video for us to introduce the Mad Lib,
Yeah.
since we mentioned it on the last episode. So so go ahead and check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. That's why we started with one
Play
today.
with us.
Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun. All right, guys. Well, this has been Revisiting Discovery with Holly and Michelle, Part 1. And thank you all so much for listening. Live long and prosper, one and all.
Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink and we'll cry till we laugh. And we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend